3, 2, 1, go. All right, so let's just make a really simple scene in Nomad Sculpt. So I have a new project here, and first we're just going to add a plane, and this will be the ground. I'm going to tap Gizmo and just make it bigger. Okay, also I'm in orthographic, so if you tap on the little camera here, I'm in orthographic. That just means we don't have to worry about perspective. Also, I like to sculpt with a matte cap, and that just means that it ignores the lighting and stuff, so it just makes it this color. It's easier to see. Of course, if yours isn't there, then just make sure to just tap on this and just choose PXG clay. That's the one I use. So I'll hit front there. And I'm just going to tap these little 3 dots and change this to 1. And then we can validate it. And now we just have our floor there. So anytime we make anything or anytime we add a mesh, it's always good to rename. So this will be floor or frior. So let's clone this. So we're going to use our floor here. We'll just clone it. And we'll push it back. And we'll flip it. You can see I have snap here on 90 degrees. So when I rotate it, it'll rotate 90 degrees. And I'm just going to bring it generally to here and bring it up. Again, this is not really being too technical. It's just mostly, you know, for fun. I'm going to make a cute scene. Nothing too technical with this tutorial. So now I'm going to tap here and then highlight them both and just kind of stretch them out a little bit. You can also stretch them this way too, if you want. Okay, so now let's rename the back one. So we'll tap these 3 dots and name. We'll just rename it wall. So we have the floor and now we have a wall. So let's add a box, and this will be table top. Okay, we can tap our gizmo and we'll bring it up. We'll make it big using the orange ring. It's a bit hard to see, but there's that orange ring around. And then we'll shrink it, something like that. Maybe we'll shrink it this way. I think I want to put it up against the wall, so I'll just push it up against that wall there. Maybe make it a little smaller. Okay, so it's just touching the wall. It's a little high. I think that's good. Okay, so once you have your table where you want it, just go ahead and hit validate. Sometimes I like to make my tables have a rounded edge, so I use this round edge tool. So I'll show you really quick how to make it. It's very easy. So just take your smooth tool, tap the smooth tool, clone, and you can put, I'll just put R edge for a rounded edge or reg. So once you clone it, it shows up down here. So then just go to this little pencil and you see all these options here. So for stroke, we'll go down to lock radius. For alpha, we'll leave it as it is. The only thing we'll change down here is we don't have to lock rotation. Yeah, I think we can leave that alone. I think it's fine. Fall off, tap, flat, or 1. Filter, I'm just going to leave everything as it is. Pressure, I'm going to make sure to uncheck use global settings. Preset, preset, tap here, flat, tap here, flat, and there you go. So that's it. So now we have those settings. We'll go to that tool and hit save and yes. And now you have it. So if you look in, you'll see we're using the rounded edge. So you tap on the middle, then drag, and you see that it rounds out the edges. I'll go a little bit closer so you can see. I tap here, and drag. See, it rounds out the edges. And I'll do it once again with the wireframe on. So you can see it makes the edges nice and round. But let's go ahead and add some legs. So we'll go here, add, and we'll do another box. We'll just use our gizmo to move it up. And let's go ahead and stretch it. Just hit front again. So I'll stretch it so it's right on that white line, and so it also touches the bottom of the table. So something like that. And we can also squeeze it to the length that you want, or the thickness that you want. Then you have to turn it. We'll just tap left here. We'll bring it to the edge of the table. You can tap mirror and then bring it to the edge, the other edge, like so. And now you can go ahead and squeeze it as you want and just make them as thick as you want. Maybe we'll move them in a little bit closer to each other so they're a little bit underneath the table. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and validate that. Again, if you want to use the round edge tool, you can use that on the legs. Or you can just leave them, sharp, but I usually like to use the round edge tool. So once you're happy with those, you can actually just clone this and use your gizmo and bring the other ones out to the other side. So let's hit left and we'll bring it over here. Let's put it a little bit underneath the table. Okay, it looks good. All right. So now we can take all of these and just validate them. We'll join children. And these will be the table legs. They're 13.2K. They don't need it to be that high, so just tap here, miscellaneous, and just decimate them. I'm going to decimate them until it's 1664. That's pretty good. It doesn't need to be that, they don't need to be that high of numbers. Okay, so now let's use the table and the legs to make just a really simple chair. So we'll go here, we have the tabletop, we'll clone that, and we'll name this chair seat. Bring it down, and then we'll take the legs, clone, and this will be chair legs. Okay, so now we have the chair seat and the chair legs. And let's go ahead and hide the tabletop and the table legs. So now we only see these. So first the chair seat. So we can bring it down a little bit. And you can actually bring back the tabletop if you want to kind of see where the seat's going to be. So maybe something like this I think will work. And obviously it doesn't have to be that short, but we can fix that a little bit later. So now we can go to the legs. So the legs are all together, but we can still move them. So let's just take symmetry and change from group to vertex. And now we should be able to move the legs as though they're still in the mirror. So I'm going to bring them to the seat like so, and then I'm just going to shrink them. Okay, so that looks pretty good. All right, so let me hide the tabletop. So all we're seeing is the chair now. So now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to change the symmetry to just the blue. We don't need the red anymore, so we're just going to use Z. Make sure you still have symmetry, vertex, and then once you move it, it should do the same thing. So we can kind of move them like this for the seat. And then we can take this and just kind of squeeze it together. I think something like that. Maybe make it a little thicker. So something like that. All right, so let's take this, the chair seat, we'll clone it, and we'll call this one chair back. So that'll be the back of the chair. We can go ahead and rotate it. I still have snap 90 degrees. Okay, we'll move to the left, and then we'll just kind of line it up. And you can kind of make it as big or as small as you want. So maybe something like that. You can actually, we might be able to just extend these. So I'm going to turn symmetry off. So I'm going to stretch this up. And then I'm going to hit left, and I'm just going to use trim and rectangle. And I'm just going to cut off the front, so now we just have the back. And I just want to show you my trim settings, just in case. So these are my trim settings. Just in case you have any issues or it doesn't work the way that mine worked. I don't think anything here. Yeah, I think it's just these two that make the difference. And let's do something just for fun. So we'll add a cylinder. We'll use the gizmo, we'll bring it up to around where the seat is. We'll shrink it. Let's kind of move it till it's right on the seat, like so. And let's go to symmetry. Oh, let's validate it. Let's go to symmetry. So we have the X. We also want the Y. And I don't think we want the blue. We'll turn it on anyway. So we'll use the move tool, turn on symmetry, and let's just kind of stretch it out a little bit. So I'm just kind of stretching it, making it a little bit more square a bit. Something like that. Just so it looks kind of like something nice and soft that would be on a seat. I think that looks good. And you can feel free to do round edge if you want. If you want to make it a little bit more round, you can do something like that. Stretch it out a little bit. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And this will be the seat cushion. Okay, so now this is all the chair, so I'm just going to join these. And this will be the chair. And I'm going to link the chair cushion. I'll bring back the table. And as long as we have the chair and the seat cushion, then we can kind of move them around. Maybe you can put one here, perhaps. And we can clone. Drag the other one over. We can always turn it too. If you want to kind of put it, see if it'll fit. Will it fit under the table? It might not. I made them kind of big. But where there's a will, there's a way. We'll take the table and just stretch it. Maybe I'll take the chairs and shrink them since they're so big. But yeah, that might be a little bit better. But now you can pretty much just kind of have fun with it. And, you know, if you have you can make a bowl or something and put it on the table. And you can have a lot of fun with rendering, even with just something really simple like this. Take these two and just kind of spread them out. Give us a little more room. But that's pretty much it. I feel like it needs at least one more thing. So really quick, I'm going to use the lathe tool, and I'll use curve, and I'm just going to make like a nice little bowl. So just really simple, just a really simple bowl. Let's spline so it's nice and round maybe. Maybe we'll do it a little fancy here. Bring these in a little bit. So when you're using the lathe, you just want to, you're just making the outside wall and the inside wall kind of thing. So that's all the lathe does. All right, that looks good. So we'll just validate it. I'll use the gizmo to bring it a little bit closer to the table. And if you want to leave it on the surface of the table, actually that's perfect. The gizmo is in the perfect place. Now we can just shrink it and it just stays on the table. So this might look good with some fruit in it or something. But anyway, you can see, really simple, really easy stuff. Make some food or some things to go on the table. You can make a rug, you know, you can make a lot of different things like that. So now let's just change it to perspective. We'll fill our screen here. And let's see, we'll go from matte cap to lit PBR. And now you can just color everything. Maybe we want the floor. I'll just do this really quickly. Try not to spend too much time on lighting. I'm trying to keep these videos a little bit shorter. Maybe the wall's a different color. Maybe the wall's like a light. Something like that. And maybe let's take the color of the floor and use that for the chairs. And the table legs. You know what? And the table too. This, let's make like a, maybe that's like a darker wood. I'll make that a little bit glossy maybe. Seat cushions. We'll just use that same color. Okay, so now let's just turn our environment off. So we're just going here, we turn the environment off, we'll add a light, and you can see it starts to come way more into life. At this point in time, you can turn on your post-process too, to really have a good look. This is my own, but you can use these and kind of just play around with them. I just have ones with the settings that I use normally. And this lighting actually looks pretty good. Might turn it up a little bit, make it a little bit brighter, and set the shadows to soft. Yeah, that actually looks pretty good. And I might add another light. And let's make this a spotlight. And we'll put it like it's right above the table. I would use point light for this, but point light still doesn't respect the shadows, and that always bugs me. So we'll do that. We'll make this light a bit cool, maybe a little bit blue. And we'll use that little green node to like widen it, widen the beam. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We'll just fill our screen again. Maybe we'll tilt it a little bit so you can see more, suddenly see more. And I'm going to save this view. So now we have that view. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show you how easy it is to just make simple scenes in Nomad. It's really fun. And these are great. You can make characters and put them in an environment. Because eventually you kind of have to start making environments, and chairs, and just places for the characters and 3D models to be. And one more last thing, One thing that I usually do with Nomad to make my renders look really good is I use subsurface. So I'll just take most of these things and go to the material tab and use subsurface. I don't leave it as is. I usually bring it down till it's like around 0.1 or so. But yeah, I turn subsurface on for everything. I'll even do multiple. So the table legs, the chairs, chair. So I'll go here, subsurface, bring everything down. Yep, that's about it. I like to subsurface everything. All right, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.